You may heal a profound wound that may stem from childhood connected to committed long-term love. Childhood wounds about lovability, commitment, marriage, even partnering with others in business. At the same time, you may heal a deeper wound connected to your ancestral line. Lunatic Astrology. Welcome, fellow Aquarians, to your month of July. We have some beautiful energy for us, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising, as Lord Jupiter enters into a part of our world that can bring major positive directions in long-term committed love and romantic engagements. We can also take cue from this month's guide that we have a once-in-a-lifetime event, which will be called the Barbo Basket in the last month, half of the month. And it's really a powerful shift for every single Aquarian because it's going to hit us smack dab on the axis of our ascendant, descendant, bringing potential changes in where we address romantic love, entrepreneurial stories, creativity, where we can address the power of our ability to communicate to the world at large. And for a lot of us, this is one of those kinds of times where the combination of rare factors, especially for Aquarius, can be absolutely game-changing. So although we normally talk about eclipses as game changers, this sky in the month of July is the exception. It is game-changing for so many reasons. We have also the planet Mars doing his once every 2-year new journey through a part of your chart that you associate with passion and romance, and he is the god of passion. So things could heat up in your love life for sure, but also your creative and entrepreneurial energies will be at a peak. Let us get going. Let's break the sky down and talk about it week by week. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Lori Lothian. We're using the Western Tropical Zodiac, and this is your month of July. And we're also going to bring your attention to the idea that we have a couple of moons that are going to kind of knock your socks off, particularly the Aquarius moon, which is your moon coming up at the month's end. So let's break this down week by week, day by day. Let's get started. Let me show you the sky, take some notes, settle in. And if you're new here, thank you for coming. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my regulars who've been here for forever and ever. Thank you for being part of this channel and helping me reach 150,000 subscribers. And so I'm so jazzed about that. I also want to mention that if you want to time your best life using astrology, I have a course that I teach every single fall, starts in September, runs 7 weeks long. This is called Sky Reader. It is a beginner level astrology course to help you learn the language of astrology, but also to time your best life by using a couple of divine timing tools that are very simple. But we go through learning the basic language of astrology over the 7 weeks, along with teaching you how to time your life. In the description box under the video, you will find either the super early bird discount that is only going to be truly active until the end of July. You'll either find the enrollment or you'll find the wait list. Either one depends on when you watch this video. Some of you will see it in the end of June, some will see it in July. At some point that will move on from the early bird discount wait list. It'll turn into an enrollment link. So I hope to see you guys coming to class. We'll have a Discord group, Facebook group, weekly Q&As. It's live with me and my teaching assistants, and it's a lot of fun. All right, so let's get rolling. Let's get into the story. This is my 7th year teaching. Crazy, I can't believe it that I've been teaching this class this long, but that's how you get to be an old astrologer. All right, so welcome, fellow Aquarius. I have a rising sign. To listen today for your rising sign, you're listening with the idea that the rising sign is your simulation avatar character. Your rising sign does represent who you are in the game of life, what you look like, and how you participate as a fictional being, like in a movie character. Your rising sign is accurate. But if you listen for your sun and moon, they're also useful. Sun sign is how you approach life through the lens of your spiritual essence and who you really are, and often leans towards focus on career and purpose-related matters, whereas your moon sign is how you feel and think about life, and often subsequently also connects you to home, domicile, safety, and where you live. So try listening for all three. And today, Aquarius, this is your sky. We've set the sky up for July the 1st, and hit the like button, subscribe, please, and the notification bell. Share with friends and family, hype the video, help it grow. What happens as we begin July The first most important thing to point out to you is perhaps just July 1st, because Chiron will come into his new position in Taurus through to September the 17th. The wounded healer has been here since the third week of June, and he comes into a square to Jupiter. You may heal a profound wound that may stem from childhood connected to committed long-term love. Childhood wounds about lovability, commitment, marriage, even partnering with others in business. At the same time, you may heal a deeper wound connected to your ancestral line. Something very magical and wonderbar happens when Jupiter and Chiron square roughly on July the 1st, maybe a day before and the day after. Let's see how that plays out. Let me know in the comments after, how did it feel for you under this kind of a sky? With Venus ruling the Chironic wound, also with Jupiter in the marriage and commitment house for long-term love and monogamy, I bet you any money that's the kind of wound that's starting to heal. When we move forward past the July 1st Chironic wound healing, we notice right away that Mars and the North Node will be squaring. It's called Mars at the nodal bendings. It's a fated destiny story. It's not usual, right? It happens to be that Mars can only be here every 2 years. In your fifth house. It happens to be the nodes can only be here every 18 years. And honestly, I have to go check how long ago this happened, but it wasn't even true 18 years ago. So it's like you want to understand that destiny is pivoting you when it comes to your money, both the money you earn and the money you get from other situations like royalty income, ad income on Google, money from inheritances and spousal support, separation, in-law money, tax rebates, just money like that. You don't earn it, but also money that you do earn. So the money story axis is getting highly wakened up by Mars squaring the nodes. And this is also with Uranus holding his hand. I don't even know what to say. We're going to feel it July the 1st for sure. You might even notice that it's kind of activated as soon as we finish June, like June the 2nd. I mean, June the 30th. So like June the 30th to, I don't know, July the 3rd, when Mars actually crashes right into Uranus. I think you're going to see a major, major life turning point. Well, it's so simple and it's so difficult to predict what it will be because Uranus is the guy that we always jokingly say, expect the unexpected. But July 3rd is the epicenter. So 3 or 4 days before, a day or two after, Mars squaring the nodes of fate, conjunct Uranus, fated deaths and unexpected turning points that have a lot of excitement, but a lot of intensity. You're going to make changes in the way you operate financially. It may connect to entrepreneurship. It may connect to creative and artistic endeavors, and it may connect to pennies from heaven, windfalls, and good fortune like that. What I mean is you could even win money unexpectedly here, which of course will pivot your finances dramatically. Of course, not everybody will win money. Some of you may, especially with Jupiter trining your house of windfalls. Let's talk about that for just a minute. Okay, let's go back and take a deep breath, because even though we're already into the first week of July, it behooves us to mention that Jupiter moved into your 7th house on June 30th, will not leave until late June, early July of 2027, indicating a year of very powerful, positive expansion and growth and prosperity when it comes to how you reach your audience, marketplace, clients, how you fare in long-term love relationships. For females, this is often the beginning of a love of a lifetime. Jupiter represents the ideal spouse for a female in Vedic astrology. And with Venus greeting him as he enters, it really codes for the possibility of new love forming or big love forming or existing love taking a new spiritual turn. And this energy will be really exciting. So keep that in mind. With Mars, sexy hot Mars moving here into the sign of Gemini, I'm wondering if there's something going on here that's going to basically want to heat you up. Passion is sprouting here around commitment and romance. And there could be some really sexy times with your hubby or wife, or if you're single, someone new coming in. And you'll feel that energy to be true as long as we have Venus still in Leo. And Venus doesn't leave Leo until July the 8th. So that first week of July with Mars in your Gemini sky, where he landed on June the 28th, all the way through until July the 8th could be very passionate, very romantic with you and a significant other. Could even involve travel, leisure travel, and romantic getaways. Okay, so back to the basics. The energy of the nodal bending is Mars making a pivotal decision regarding money, right? The nodes are in the money houses, and it can have to do with money and children, money and romantic relationships, and money and your entrepreneurial and creative business endeavors, or with Uranus, a spark of good fortune of some sort. Now, the spark of good fortune can come through your career, 10th house, or the spark of good fortune that's destined for you can come through your 3rd house of siblings, writing, communicating, marketing, selling, and social media landscape and platforms. So there can be someone lights the match. There's a spark of change, but there's a spark of good fortune. The good fortune 5th house is such a positive place. On the darker side, or the challenging side, is major pivotal turning points in the life of one of your children that is fated and destined, and may also be impacting the areas of their life over which you have no control, particularly where they live or their career direction. And then we move on to the next big story. So the next thing we notice in the sky, still in the very first week of July, is we're going to pay attention to how you will notice a kind of glowy, divine, positive flow between what you're trying to accomplish in your online social media landscape, local environment, to do with writing or learning or communicating or teaching, also connected to siblings or neighbors, and how this energy is activating something like we have some visionary ability, and we're propelling it forward in our creative ways, our creativity, our artist, our muse, our entrepreneurial instincts. But that could also be that leisure trip or romantic getaway that I alluded to earlier. So you're feeling this energy really picking up strongly around July the 4th. Now, a lot of people travel. So there's a getaway, a trip, but it could be, again, inciting some romantic passion, or it could be some dreamy outcomes in your online social media biz or creativity or teaching, learning, and your ambitions when it comes to your competitive instinct in the entrepreneurial house. You're winning at the game of entrepreneurial competition. Okay, we can go with that. And as we continue on that very first week of the month, we'll notice that Mars will also trine Pluto. So this is going to open up this mini grand trine. So it's kind of like this mini grand trine is so beautifully rare in so very many ways. And it's like, oh, okay, how am I going to be powerful and renewing and regenerating myself from the inside out as I transform my very essence of my sun, moon, and rising? And I go into visionary dreams of what I want to make real in my relationship to my communications, my teaching, my learning environment, and breakthrough insights or breakthrough changes of direction when it comes to creativity and entrepreneurial stories. That said, if you were single and looking for love, you might just be also having a flashpoint of new love coming through at this time, but it may be because you are busy in the online world or you're traveling. So those are ways, or sibling introduces you to somebody, or you're just hanging out in the hood, and new love may sprout during this first week of July. On July the 6th, Sun and Saturn come into a combative position of a square. And I think that there is going to be a day here. It's not a long time. So it's flash in the pan, but it's important. The Sun is trying to highlight things connected to both the 6th house and perhaps your Leo sky, employees, employer relationships, work and health matters connected to business partners or long-term love partners or legal agreements. Now, there's a spotlight on something here for you to pay attention to at this time. It's like, look at what the flashlight is showing you and ask yourself what your takeaway is on July the 6th, okay? July the 5th, the 6th, spotlight on the things I just mentioned. And what does Saturn offer? Sober realism, being realistic, being grounded in a kind of eyeball that isn't dreamy, but has a practical stance. So the practical realism around what you do in your writing, teaching, communicating, online social media, short distance travel, sibling and neighbor relationships, and debts, and payments and employees and partners in business and partners in love. They're all entwined, for the sun spotlighting the sixth house is still the ruler of your seventh. So there's a kind of a bracing realism moment, okay? So look for that bracing realism moment around July the 5th. Let's move on to the second week of the month. And we're going to talk about July the 7th all the way through to about the 14th. And let's break it down bit by bit. First of all, you'll notice on July the 9th, Venus leaves your Leo 7th house, where she's been traveling ever since June the 13th, giving you a lot of attention in the public appeal, if it's in your business endeavors to be publicly appealing to others, bringing positive directions in your life regarding long-term committed love and relationship, while also favoring your significant other who has benefited from this glow up, if you have a significant other, and maybe bringing someone in new as well, as I said, from basically June 28th to July the 9th. You could start a new love story, kind of sizzling hot energy between you and the other person. But the other thing you want to pay attention to with Venus is that she's now going into a condition of her fall, and Venus is not in her best shape here. And as she crosses that threshold on June the 9th, she bumps into the south node of fate to release, surrender, and let go. Let go of what? It happens to be let go of money that you don't earn directly, because it comes from other people, or it's unearned income in some manner. Kind of royalty income, passive income can be here, stock investment money, money from the in-laws, spousal support, inheritance monies, whatever, releasing, surrendering, letting go of something here. It is very strongly connected to Venus also owning your 4th house. And there could be some real estate situations that revolve release and letting go. So it can be about a situation in the home with someone in the home, money in the home, and releasing, surrendering, and letting go. You know, Mercury will retrograde, as I should have mentioned, at the end of June, on the June 29th, 30th timeframe. And he'll be still retrograding all the way through July until the 23rd. You'll notice that his retrograde all the way through to the 23rd of July is happening in your 6th house. And I want to bring your attention to that, because as Venus now moves into your 8th house and stays here, guys, all the way through to August 7th, the Mercury retrograde works with her in some way. It's like, it could be about debts, paying down debts, paying off debts from your past. But if debt is owed to you from the past, like there's money you should have had, particularly if that money is coming from a spouse and like a separation agreement, or even money from widower or widowhooding, I have to say, if money, that kind of money, legacy wealth, marital wealth, is due you, that money could be coming through. It could be positive despite Venus's stability. So there is another story there too. So Venus, South Node, a little bit of intensity around letting something go, ruled by Mercury in a debts house. This is also the house of employees if you have them, and there may be a need to release an employee. Maybe you need to cut back on expenses or something like that. Or there may be a changing here in some situation connected to pets and some health challenges for a pet. But that would be an old health challenge that a pet had returning, not to worry you, but it could look like your pet could pass. So, and what we're looking about that time frame that I've already mentioned, around July the 9th. On July the 11th is when Venus is exactly on the South Node by degree. Depends if we use true and mean nodes. So the 9th to the 11th, the debts, the pets, the money, the house, the real estate, these things are all playing out all at once, everywhere, all at once. I'll be covering that a lot more. Venus does exalt your earnings, but she's unfortunately downdrafting in your chunky money. So it could be a source of money you rely on is going to leave. Like, you might rely on spousal support or inheritance money or book royalty income or Google AdSense. So that's not good. And maybe that source of money doesn't work anymore. Oh my God, the US-Canada trade agreement, right? That Trump's trying to sign with Canada and Mexico, maybe if that falls apart, I won't be able to use Google AdSense anymore. So that's an example of an unforeseen circumstance that could change the way I make money. Eeks. All right, moving forward. Also, in the second week of the month, we're going to notice that the sun will become one with Mercury, called a cazimi. Mercury retrograding into the heart of the sun is very magical, and it's a reset button. And this Mercury reset button happens on July the 12th or so. And what you can get from Mercury in the heart of the sun is a beginning restart from a divine intelligence, but also information and news can come through. What kind of information might that be around this time? Well, it certainly could be something to do with your cosmic agenda regarding employees, employer situations, and job situations. And so there may be a news flash here for you of something you need to pay attention to. Now, Mercury retrograde could bring job opportunities, colleagues, and coworkers from the past back to you. So you may be finding that to be true, that even though this is the cazimi moment for information, that the retrograde phase from around June the 29th until July 23rd means all of these coworkers, colleagues, employees from the past return, and maybe Venus South Node could be a pet from the past returns to you, but this would be like a reincarnation story. The new puppy looks just like your former puppy or something. Those are themes I could go for as well. The cazimi occurs with the moon supporting it in her domicile. So it's a very divinely protected cazimi, and it's probably going to offer something positive. But look for your emails, texts, and phone calls for some important message around the time of June 20th. And it could involve money, chunks of money, and debts as well. It could also involve good fortune in some way, even though it's a house of debts. You could have a turnaround story on your debt situation financially around June the 20th. Rightio, let's move into the next story. It feels like when you begin to notice Venus trining Chiron, there's a first in a lifetime chironic healing of wounds connected to Taurus. This wound healing that Venus is capable of giving you is really all about this narrative. You feel it beginning to open up on the 9th of July, and it begins to fall away by the 12th of July. And it may be healing something to do with a childhood wound around money, family money, around wounds in your ancestral line and childhood, about magic, occult abilities, and paranormal talents, and including past lives in which you have wounds around those very same themes of occult talent and ability. And so there's this chironic psychological, psychospiritual healing available to you at this time. And even a chironic wound that might have something to do with someone who's died in your family system, someone who's passed on, including a mother figure, and healing that wound as well. Wouldn't be a bad time to go to a seance or seek the advice of a psychic medium, because a parental female or female in your lineage may come through to talk to you and help you heal wounds that mostly seem to be about your self-worth and value and money around this window of the 9th of July until the 12th of July. There's an unexpected surprise to do with maybe finances. Thank you, Venus. It's around the 13th. Venus is going to come square Uranus, a little shock, a little awe, a little unexpected, something or other. Now, it's still Venus, and even in a square, she's trying to deliver something good. Even when she's fallen, she's trying to help out. So it can be an unexpected surprise to do with money and good fortune. Now, there's no reason why that couldn't be winning a lottery ticket either. So I'm not going to hold you back from that, because good fortune of that kind resides in the 5th house. And Venus is able to deliver some surprises financially, according to the 8th house of chunky money. And the South Node can simply mean fated destined circumstances around that kind of win. So if there's any major lottery ticket purchase available for you around July 13th, a day or two before and after, this could indicate being a pivotal turning point winning situation for you. Otherwise, it can be major turning point changes that surprise you, connected to long-term love and romance, money and debt, in-laws, and or your children and money as well. We will pass forward into the future, into the Barbo cradle or basket. This is beginning a very rare, very once in a lifetime event predicted by astrologer Barbo to be the beginning of the dawn of the golden age of humanity when things finally get better, the end of the 7 years of tribulation, right? And this beginning is happening this summer. And you're going to notice the energy coming into action by the 14th of July, and certainly through to the 24th is pretty intense. Do you see the basket? So this basket is positive and powerful. Blue lines bring flow, ease, and grace. The opposition is where the intensity is. Jupiter opposite Pluto, and Moon and Jupiter opposite Pluto as this really heats up on July 14th. Wow, I'm going to be doing a deep dive video into this, but Jupiter is in the house of committed long-term love opposite Pluto in your sign. And Jupiter can be like about a power struggle between you and some other person, a teacher, a guru, a business partner, or a love partner. You're Plutonian, Jupiter is Leonine, especially if it has to do with work partnerships. At the same time, the moon being absolutely opposite with Jupiter, Juno, the goddess of committed love, your whole eyeballs in life over this year, Aquarius, through to the end of the year is, should I stay or should I go? You're looking for a committed love partner, right? You're out there hunting for it, or you're getting ready to walk away from an existing one. And we're talking about like the marriage level commitment. So as you're pondering all of that, there is tension here. And with the moon involved, the moon is a natural ruler of your sixth house of employees, work situations, colleagues, or all of that. So there may be tension in that environment as well, translated to agreements, contracts, even legal ones, and maybe fracture. The energy of Jupiter is benefic. He will give you what you want, not necessarily, he'll give you what you need, not necessarily what you want. And you're ready to transform anyway, because you're carrying the Plutonian archetype with your sun, your career, Aquarius, your moon, your home and nest and emotions, and your rising sign, everything about your character in the simulation. Yet look at the rest of the flow to the basket. This basket is the story for the third week of July, from the 14th to the 21st. It is all about the basket. This basket wants to catch the goodness of the top of the sky. It's opening up doors of success in your career space, your public reputation, and your career goals and your career gains and your influence. And this basket anchors itself in the nighttime sky and offers up a lot of power in what areas of your life. Well, this is a code that's going to take you years to unravel, but it is generally speaking going to begin in the third week of July. Look for options for the following themes. A new sense of bounty and good fortune. New love, romance, and connecting to long-term committed love. New and powerful, positive, dreamy developments in writing, teaching, communicating, social media landscape, marketing, selling, and also short distance travel. And because all of this is also anchored by your ruler, Saturn, next to Neptune, humdinger energy for you. It's kind of like, okay, Saturn supports the Neptunian piece. If you're a social media beast, great. Just keep going. If you're not, it's time to set it up and get going. Entrepreneurship, social media, sanctioned, double yes for you. And there's a possibility that your natural gifts and talents that you were born to express begin to emerge fully in surprising and exciting ways as you level up the top of the sky. The basket is pointing to like letting this energy flourish as this basket is holding space for that down below. One more thing about this sky. If you are looking for a relationship because you're not in a relationship, also look to that third week of July to potentially constellate a new love story. But if that happens, it's going to be unusual, unexpected, and surprising, fast moving, could connect you to someone with a significant age difference, younger and older, could be a connection involving the social media landscape or the landscape of your local environment, like the neighborhood, the city, and the town you live in. But this could also bring that new relationship. A little extra edge would be Jupiter being able to bring you a new person through friends and benefactors, allies, friends, and social circles, introducing you to somebody new. So it's good for new love for those of you who are single. Otherwise, for those of you who are already partnered, it's really not a big change energy other than whether you want to have a fight with someone else in your marriage house. Well, Jupiter isn't necessarily your marriage partner, okay? technically that's complicated, but lifelong it's the sun. So it's really not marriage partner story necessarily. This conflict with other is somewhere else, I believe. I think this is a person with great promise and bounty and goodness and guru and teacher, and there is just a tension that needs to be resolved basically in that third week of July. Jupiter rules your friends. You could have some tension with a friend, a social group setting as well. And Jupiter rules your money house and earnings. So some of the tension may be about money, and the moon tells us employees. So there's a lot going on there as well. Okay, so that's the basket in the third week of the month. But also we have on July 14th, the beginning of that third week, a beginning of a lunation, a new moon on the 14th at 21 Cancer. The new moon happens here just before this crosses over on the 14th. A new beginning and a fresh start. You'll have a Mercury retrograde wedged in the middle of it. So it can dredge up the past, but it's a new beginning in your health routines, a new beginning on July 14th. Add a couple of weeks to see it play out. A new beginning in your employee-employer structures, your work and office space, a new beginning in your habits and routines around work, a new beginning in the way you make money and your livelihood and your career path. All the two houses, 2, 6, and 10 get activated. But Mercury retrograde also activates the past. It's both a new beginning and it dredges things up from your past at the same time. So a new beginning in work could be because you're going back to a type of work you did before or to an actual job you've done before. So there's kind of a return and a beginning at the same time, going backwards to go forwards. And when it comes to health, you can improve your health. It's a new beginning. But Mercury says tests and knowledge. So or information. Maybe you're getting a bunch of test results and it tells you what direction you need to go to improve your health. Or test results from the past are finally delivered. And now you know what direction you need to go to improve your health. That's the vibe I'm getting here for this new moon, fresh start, new beginning on the 14th. Don't forget that new moon, new beginning, Mercury retrograde is also in a sextile to Chiron and whole sign sextile. So there will be chironic solutions to any health problems should you come up with one. And that can include chiropractic, acupuncture close to home, and other such possibilities. All right, let's continue forward. So as I was saying, that whole Barbo basket is opening up in the second week. That is the primary focus, but we also have Mars on July the 19th. July the 19th, 2 days before and after July the 19th, 2 days before and after, an auspicious flow to Saturn, the Lord of your sign. You are Saturn ruled. Now, Mars is flowing to Saturn from your fifth house of good fortune, from your fifth house of children and romance, from your fifth house of entrepreneurial and creative projects and endeavors, to Saturn in your house of social media, local environment, neighbors and friends, and siblings. Well, whatever's happening stabilizes long-term gains, drive and ambition, forcing you to move forward this way with a stable background from Saturn. And a lot of times Saturn here is very cautious and conservative, but he's also trying not to be reckless and daredevil, because that's not how he operates, but that is the energy of the Mars ruled kingdom. Mars is telling Saturn what to do. Help me out here, guys. Saturn is saying, what do you want from me, Mars? And Mars says, let's move forward in a measured, structured, disciplined way with our projects that are creative and entrepreneurial and artistic, that involve marketing, selling, teaching, learning, or writing, social media landscape. Or let's plan a very cautious and measured paced way to take a trip domestically that might involve siblings or might involve romantic getaways. So that's a nice little feeling in the middle of the month. It flows very nicely for you. All right. And again, I think I gave you the date, but I repeat myself, July 19th, a couple of days before and a couple of days after. So the Barbo basket just flows all the way through until about July the 23rd, 24th even. You're still feeling the basket activate. But let's move on to the next stories at the end of the month. So one thing to say about Mars being in our fifth house from June 28th to August the 7th is there going to be passion and drive and ambition and competitive spirit going on around our art, our creativity, entrepreneurial business, and passion for long-term love and romance. And the reason I say long-term, although Mars here can have hot flings at parties and short-term love, he is operating under a Jupiterian energy, and Jupiter, it wants it to be legal and lasting. So very unlikely to fling with Jupiter in your 7th house after the 29th of June, as much as to experience passionate romantic engagement in with the qualifier, you're looking for the lasting story. Okay, you're not going for a fling here. All right, now when we move into that last week of the month, we're going to start, I guess, let's go from the 23rd to the end of the month. The Sun and Chiron square, a flashpoint around a chironic healing to do with home, nests, and childhood matters. And we're flashing from the 7th house. I don't know if this is really short-lived, but because the Sun is moving so quickly, right? But when we get that Sun forward, and let's move that Sun forward, this Sun, benefic Jupiter protection, squaring Chiron, healing a chironic wound from childhood about how you wish to engage in long-term committed love would be a normal way to parse that story. And I brought that up earlier as well, because we had this same event happen earlier in the month. So just from Jupiter on July 1st. So maybe July 1st feels a little bit like it's repeating and rinsing itself all over again around the second wave of July 23rd. See if we can connect July 1st and July 23rd to childhood wounds, chironic healings about marriage and long-term committed love, for example. Also coming up in the very last week of the month, Mercury will flow in a beautiful way to Venus for powerful, positive, good news or good communications on July the 24th. Now, Mercury always wants to deliver all the news that he can that is fit to print. And he's now direct, right? He turned direct on the 23rd. And on the 24th, he is going to flow in a beautiful collaboration to Venus. Good news about money, good news about debt, good news about health, good news about colleagues in work, good news about chunky money, good news about your pet and your pet's health. So if you have a health challenge and you've been waiting to see the results, you will get good news, basically, positive news, basically, around July the 24th. So don't worry and bite your nails too hard. And Venus is in the domicile that Mercury owns, his Virgo land, and he's delivering the news from a health place. So, and I think you're going to be relieved at some kind of prognosis that turns out fine, even to the point where the moon, which can connect to health challenges, rules the house of sickness and is being trined by Jupiter. So it looks like good news around health matters for anyone worried about it, or pets and health, or debts and debt elimination stories, financial debts. It looks like some good news forming here on July the 24th. Take a deep breath, shall we? On July the 26th to the 29th, the Sun is busy as all hell, opposing Pluto, trining Neptune, and sextiling the Uranian story. Obviously, this is activating the Barbo cradle, right? Or basket, take your pick, same thing. The Sun is doing what Jupiter did earlier in the month, third week of July. Now, at the end of July, we're moving into the new story. So around here, around July the 26th, the Sun makes the basket come alive. The Sun will be opposite Pluto. That's a power struggle. Who are you struggling with? An authority figure, somebody who wants to boss you around because it's a Leo Sun. And yet at the same time, the Sun is in its own domicile. Jupiter is strongly activating protection. So there's some kind of thing that's going on that could just be a temporary flash in the pan for Aquarius rising, feeling a bit of a power struggle heating up around July the 26th. But at the same time, the out of the power struggle is flowing to unexpected positive good fortune, as well as activating dreamy results. A business contract, legal agreement, client audience, marketplace situation that can feel a little intense is going to flow to dreamy, dream come true, make your dreams real, good fortune unexpectedly. And it may involve the following themes: unexpected good fortune regarding your writing, communicating, marketing, selling, dreams coming alive and showing up as a realistic endeavor, where it's sober realism meets big dreams, where also at the same time your artistic, creative, and entrepreneurial story is getting breakthroughs of some sort, breakthrough. And could this be about romantic love? I know a lot of people will wonder, well, sort of, yes, it could bring a new romantic love story into your life. And the intensity is the intensity of this flashpoint of soulmate love, dreamy soulmate love coming through solar masculine energy. And so this could be a Jupiterian, larger than life person that has a lot of masculine current attracting your gaze over here. There may be delays in its actual becoming a relationship. It probably wouldn't likely do that until Mercury moves into Leo, and that's after August 7th. So after August 7th, any flashpoints in the last week of July that feel like, oh my God, who is this person that I might romantically be attracted to that has something to do with my local neighborhood or online world, you won't probably see any real results from that until after August 7th. We want Mercury in your 7th house, not in your 6th house for the romance to spark. Okay. But there's a beginning here, perhaps, of crossing paths with a potential life mate or partner of destiny or romantic love story. Then you will feel a sizzle. You will feel immediate attraction. You will feel like thunder, lightning, bolts of excitement around it, but it may not be happening right away, especially with Saturn trining the Jupiter Sun. I mean, yes, time, slow, incremental. Even if you know it's the one for you, it may take some time to unfold. All right. What about Venus squaring Mars? That's sexual chemistry. And Venus squaring Mars this way is secret love. So maybe you do meet somebody, but you can't announce it to the world for reasons of logistics, right? Somebody's married, somebody's getting divorced, somebody's inappropriate. Maybe they're the boss. Saturn rules the workhouse. And so it's not, you want everyone to know you're having an amazing, sexy tryst with your boss, but there's something going on where you might keep a lid on it here, but you might be having some sexual sizzle and fun and bed play here around the 29th of the month of July, a day or two before or after. Also some exciting developments where good fortune and chunky money. You could even win some money too. On July the 29th, the sun will conjunct Jupiter for the beginning of a year-long reset button, a synodic cycle. This is more than about a day, but it indicates that over the course of the year that follows this reset button, right, the 12 months that follow, this 12 months that follows July the 29th can involve new beginnings of luck, prosperity, growth, and expansion in legal contracts and dealings, audience marketplace, and client outreach, or things to do with gurus and teachers or marriage and long-term love relationships. All of those are now in a renewal and a reset button phase, okay? And if you work in the online social media, you write, you communicate, you market, you sell. This is an exalted sun that opens up doors of new opportunity. And you might be meeting powerful, wealthy, and even famous people who want to support you in your third house of writing, communicating, marketing, teaching, selling, online world, whatever you're doing down here, maybe even your brick and mortar business. Full moon, 6 degrees of Aquarius. I saved the best for last. Of course, a full moon is a fulfillment moon. It's coming off February 28th eclipse, right? New moon that started the situation in the Middle East with Iran, but it is for you, not that. It's like a fresh start happened in February 28th. It's a fresh start that you want. You had Juno here as well in February. So were you looking at life for new business partners, new love partners in February, making thoughts and decisions about keeping or not keeping relationships? And now you're going to have a fulfillment light that shows you the way to go. Quite often, this is just like a flashlight of self-awareness on your Aquarius sky. And so now you know, okay, now I see more clearly under the lunation that's full how I want to choose one way or the other when it comes to beginning or ending long-term committed love stories, most likely, but ruled by Saturn. Also choose clearly around projects connected to your third house of communicating, marketing, teaching, writing, and selling. And the full light shows you the way forward. But you also have to go back to the February new moon, add 2 weeks last year, which was an eclipse, to also see more about it. The last note is, of course, the changing of the nodal axis is happening. The nodes are now sliding backwards around the 27th, 28th of the month into a new axis. And for the next 18 months, you live under this South Node 7th house spell. North Node in your sign. We'll be doing a separate video on the nodal change. It's going to be a big, big deal, but it means you are expanding your worldly footprint and worldly success and changing your identity in the simulation. And if it's your Aquarius Sun, it's your career. Aquarius Moon, it's your home life gets bigger and better and more worldly. And your Aquarius rising, you are striving to become something important, powerful, and influential in this world. Whereas the South Node through the 7th house can end a marriage that's no longer true for you, and it's time to close it out. July 27th, 8th, at 18 months, or it can bring you soulmate, destined love as well. Both are true. And so let me know how that goes. I think July is not too bad for new love, but consolidating new love won't really happen till August, where now you can really dig into a new love story should you be looking for one. All right. Thanks for listening. Don't forget, this is taking me a while. It's a busy as hell month. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a thing, please. And don't forget to check out Sky Reader. Either you're going to see an early bird, super early bird discount wait list below, which is probably what you're going to see, or you're going to see by the time you see it, the enrollment link. That early bird discount, deep dive discount only lasts until the end of July. So no matter when you watch this video, make sure you grab it, because in August, we're not going to continue that price point. I love to see you at Sky Reader. It's a fun class to learn the language of astrology, be your own astrologer, time your best life. It's in my introductory class, taught it for 7 years. And after that, you can always sign up for my next one. I'm going to call it Map Maker, but it used to be called the Divine Timing Masterclass. And you can continue your learning with me next year. So it's a starter course for how to start learning with me. I'll see you guys in class. Take care. Bye-bye.
Lunatic astrology.